This trendy cowl neck top is all over my FYP, so I made one for myself in just 20 minutes. It is quick, beginner friendly, and you won't be needing a pattern at all. If this is what you're here for, let me show you how to make yours. Let's get started. The measurements we'll be using for this cowl neck top are very simple. You only need two measurements: your cowl neck depth, which is how deep you want your cowl to be, and the full length of your top. As you can see, I'm using my mannequin and I'm placing the tape to measure how low I want my cowl to drop. For mine, the cowl depth is 39 inches and the full length of the top is 19 inches. So make sure you take those two measurements because that's all we'll be needing for this tutorial. I have already cut out my pieces for this top and I have two of each. That's because this fabric is very lightweight. It is soft floral crepe, so doubling it helps with structure and it gives the cowl a nicer drape. Now the width of my top, which is also the cowl depth, measures 39 inches and the length of the top is 19 inches. You can go ahead and add your sewing allowance all around the fabric. That means on all sides of your pieces. Next, I cut out my strap. As you can see, I've already stitched it and turned it to the right side. This strap is going to be attached to the side bottom of our top, and each of the strap measures 20 inches in length, and I added an extra ½ inch for seam allowance, and the width is 2.5 inches, but you can make yours wider or slimmer depending on your preference, but I'm sticking with 2.5 inches for mine. So the straps will be attached to the bottom sides of the top, which will be used to tie around your waist. Next, I'm going to open up my fabric. Remember, I have two pieces. I'm going to open the bottom side of one piece and place the strap in between the layers, then pin it in place. When pinning, make sure you leave out about ½ inch seam allowance at the bottom so the strap doesn't get caught in the stitching. Place the strap slightly above that ½ inch mark and then pin it down. I'll do the same thing on the other side bottom as well. And after that, I'm going to stitch all around my top, all the four corners of my top with ½ inch sewing allowance. And while stitching, I'm going to leave about 4 inches on the bottom. Now the space we're going to leave open will serve as the turning. We're going to use that space to turn over the fabric to the right side. Now moving on to the neckband, I'll be cutting out a band measuring 46 inches in length and 6 inches width. Now once it's folded, it becomes 3 inches. I'm using 2.5 inches for the band width, so the extra ½ inch is for the sewing allowance for the band. Next, I'll be folding the band in half to get the midpoint, and after getting the midpoint, I'm just going to give it a small notch to mark the center. With my band still folded, I'm going to mark 5 inches from the midpoint to the left and 5 inches from the midpoint to the right. So the 5 inches is going to be on both sides from the midpoint. Now that space we created right there will be my open area for inserting the top later. Next, I'm going to stitch the band from one end and stop at the 5-inch mark, and then I'll leave the section between the two 5-inch marks open, and then I'll continue stitching from the other 5-inch mark all the way to the opposite end. And after stitching, I'll turn the band to the right side and give it a good press. I've gone ahead to give this band a good press, and you can see we have our opening right there. Now I'm going to take my top and insert each end of the top into the opening of the band. One edge goes into the end of the band opening and the other edge goes into the opposite end. Make sure you insert about ½ an inch on each side. Don't push it in too deep, and once you have that pinned down, I'll take it to my sewing machine and top stitch the band closed. And also on the bottom of my top, I'm going to stitch close the 4 inches opening we have on the bottom. And that's it for this tutorial. I hope you learned something new. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, drop a comment and share it with others. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.